Yo, this is the Fantasy Baseball Camp, episode 20. Today, we're going to be discussing the...
Sorry, I broke character. I couldn't do it.
This, like I said, this is the Fantasy Baseball Camp, episode 20. Today, we're discussing the All-May team, as today is June 1st. So we're gonna give the All-May team in fantasy. We're going to run through each position, discuss who we think was the best player in May. Not necessarily the top scorer, right? Because if that was the top scorer, it'd be really easy. We just gotta go down the list. And could you argue that, hey, the best player is the top scorer? I mean, yeah, but...
I don't know. I guess that depends. If someone had like 30 less at bats and scored close to the same amount of points, and maybe they're a better player. And they're not even on the list.
True. So, as I didn't mention here, we've got Wesley, who you heard just a moment ago, here tonight helping with our All-May team. And we also have Sir Thomas Lombard.
Hello.
So let's get
Tommy.
Well, did you see the package I sent you, Wes? The label.
Yes,
it said Sir Wesley.
It did actually. You're right.
You got official mail with Sir Wesley.
Mm-hmm. I did. Cheers.
All right. Cheers. So let's jump right into this for our All-May team. Let's just start at the top. Catcher. Who's your All-May catcher, Tommy?
It's going to be Will Smith. It's a close one between him and Salvador Perez. They both been fantastic. But the thing that puts it over for the edge for me is the slash line. I just like a little bit better. 324, 451, 535 versus that was Will Smith. Perez's 303, 333, 596. So he did slug more. He got more home runs. But that 451 on-base percentage in the month of May is just incredible. 17 walks to 9 strikeouts. That is hard to do, especially in a points league. That's a big credit because you don't lose points for those strikeouts. You're gaining points for those walks. He's been consistent. I like him the best.
I want to say he was concussed at the beginning of May too. So he has 20 less at bats than Salvi. I think the only thing Salvi has on him is home runs, but otherwise, Will Smith's getting on base at a much better clip. So I like the Will Smith pick as well. Adley Rutschman didn't have nearly the average. Didn't really have the slugging. He was close in points. I don't know if that's just the walks and less strikeouts. Not sure. Wes, what's your thought on catcher?
I am going to make the case for Francisco Alvarez. I feel like he did have a few less at bats and scored a few less points, but he had a higher slugging percentage than Will Smith. Will Smith was at right around 465, and Alvarez was slugging above 600. He hit more homers, more doubles, no triples. Obviously, catchers don't really hit many triples. He did strike out more. Will Smith did walk more, so he walked 11 times more, which constitutes at least 11 points and a few less strikeouts. So I feel like points-wise, about 20 points of Will Smith was made up between walks and strikeouts. I'm going to take Alvarez, man. He hit a walk-off home run, which kind of jumpstart the Mets, had a game-tying hit. I don't disagree with you on the Will Smith pick. I think he's phenomenal. But I think Alvarez was
right there.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, just one thing. You mentioned a stat line. I'm looking at a day later data than what you guys are looking at, so my slash line was actually different. But I think that it didn't change much, but it did help him out. Will Smith had a really good 531 May 31st day. It helped him out big time. So that's the data I was looking at.
Yeah, what did he do that day?
Homered.
He homered, right? Yeah.
I think he had a couple hits at homer.
Hit a homer. All right. So catcher, I think the vote got Will Smith there with a close Francisco Alvarez. Salvi Perez, even though he scored the most, got 0 votes. So,
Yeah.
first base, Wesley, who's your all May first baseman?
Yeah, this is pretty easy, man. This is Freddie. Like, he had an absurd May. 386, 5 homers, 22 RBIs.
Do you see that
Uh,
slugging percentage?
yeah, man. He slugged over 700. Like,
Oh my gosh.
Freddie came into May and just chose violence. And
Chose
the,
violence.
the Dodgers are benefiting from it. So,
That guy had 15 doubles in 1 month.
yeah.
I mean, that to have 40 in a year is usually like a great feat. A 40 home run, 40 double guy. I think Nick
Yeah.
Castellanos is the doubles guy, and at least used to be. But
Freddie
15
had
in a
what?
month.
22 extra base hits in a month. Like,
Yeah, I think that's an easy decision. It's going to be Freddie Freeman all day. I want to give an honorable mention to Spencer Steer, a name that probably wouldn't recognize on this list. He's kind of a new rookie coming from the Reds, but he had a fantastic April or May, 340, 398, 598, put up 92 points. But Freddie he's going to be your
Yeah,
all first
so
baseman.
our list of first basemen that we have that we're looking at here is Freeman, Alonso, Olson, and Goldschmidt. And Freeman had 126 points, and the next was Alonso at 97. So not close. Not even saying he got less at bats and scored more. It's just Freddie Freeman all the way.
Yep.
Spencer Steer might be closer at his other position, third base. So we'll get there when we get there at third base. So that was easy. Freddie Freeman, I agree. Tommy, Freddie Freeman, right?
100% Freddie Freeman.
Moving over to second base. This one might be a unanimous as well. We got Marcus Semien with 104, Mookie Betts 91 points, Gleiber 88, Norland Gorman 87, and Jonathan India, who's having a little resurgence this year after a down. Is this his third year, Jonathan India?
yeah, I think so,
Sounds
because he
right.
was rookie of the
Great
year.
rookie, sophomore slump.
Yeah. Well, he got hurt, didn't he? Did he get hurt last year? I thought he was out for a while.
He was hurt a little bit.
Can you make an argument against Marcus Semien as the all second baseman?
Yeah, I'm going to vote for Marcus Semien, but it's coming close down with Mookie Betts, even though I don't think he should technically count as a second baseman. But he is there. He had 8 home runs. He had
but he
8
only
home
batted
runs.
223.
That's why he didn't get my vote. That's why Marcus Semien is it. But he slugged 558, 339 on base with a 232 average with 8 home runs. That's impressive, but I think just the overall effort for Marcus Semien. Hit over 300 on base, 372, slug over 500, only 3 home runs, but just consistently top of the order bat for the best team in baseball right now, if you ask me, the Texas Rangers.
I think there is a case to be made for Nolan Gorman. He, in 20-ish less at bats, scored about 20-ish less points than Marcus Semien. That's not to say that he would go 1 point per at bat over the next 20, but he did slug close to 600. Didn't have as much of an average. My vote's still Semien. I think that's kind of a clear winner, but there's a case to be made for Gorman. I mean, he had a great month.
Yeah, he did. He seemed like he was not going to stop each week. He was just going to score 30 points for people every week.
Well, we can talk about him again in third baseman rankings.
All right, yeah, I like Marcus Semien. I wouldn't have Mookie Betts as second on my list there. It'd be a fight between Gleiber and Nolan, but Nolan because he's done the damage in less at bats. Because for some reason the Cardinals just don't like to play their best players every day. Who knows what the Cardinals are really doing?
Oh yeah, and let's not talk about the service time manipulation with Jordan Walker.
Yeah.
Credit to Tommy though. That was Tommy's point. I got to give credit to him.
It's 100% what it was. Time. Oh, you came conveniently down for 21 days. Let's come back up.
Yeah, I was working on my swing.
Yeah.
And the interview.
It was fine. Right. It was fine when he went down.
Yeah. Anyways.
Now, third base, this is going to be a little more better conversation here.
Yeah.
What you thinking? What's the list? Who's the candidates?
Well, we've got Nolan Arenado, Bobby Witt, Spencer Steer, Nolan Gorman, and then one that's not showing up is Ryan McMahon, who also had a really big May 31st.
Did he?
Yeah, let me see what he did on the 31st. Or it must have been his early days I could pull it out because he didn't do anything, but I guess it was his first days that
Didn't
did
do
anything.
anything.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody kind of knows what Nolan Arenado did, right? In the month of May, like he was on fire to start the month. I mean, he ended up at right at a 300 average, 7 home runs, 22 RBIs. I mean, he great month.
That was classic Nolan Arenado.
Yeah, right. So man, I can't be biased, even though Bobby Wood's on my team. I don't think I can be biased here because he hit 236 in the month of May. He's still below 230, even though he is the number 2 scoring third baseman right now. He's still hitting below 230. So I don't know, man. This one's a tough one for me. I think Spencer Steer kind of put his name on the map in the month of May. So I think Steer might get my vote for this one.
I thought it was going to be more controversial. I thought you were going to pick Nolan Arenado. I was going to go Steer, make Burns pick the tiebreaker, but there's no tiebreaker. I'm going to go Steer. I like what he did.
Keep going.
So, yeah, I like what he did. I mean, he mentioned it there. His slash line's better across the board. He had a little less power than Nolan Arenado. That's the difference maker. Home runs are a lot of points worth, but I think just overall contribution to not only for fantasy, but as the Reds team in general, they were good in May, and he was a big part of it.
And he had 8 doubles, whereas
That's what I was gonna
Nolan
say.
had 4, right? So, yeah, he had 2 less homers, but he slugged more. So,
His overall line was better. 337, 389, 592. Yeah. Each one was better there. So yeah, I'm with you. I did, going into this and just seeing the names, I didn't think I was going to go with Spencer Steers, but we sat here and looked at the lines and the stats. That's who I gravitated towards.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I agree with Tommy. I thought we were going to debate a little more over that one.
You know what we'll have to do for the month of June is one of us cover the names and just go by the lines.
I think we're unbiased enough to do that though, because Spencer Steer is not a name. He's a Reds. He's no disrespect to the Reds fans, but
Arenado's a name. He's a name though,
and we didn't pick him.
I know. I'm just saying.
And it's not necessarily like Arenado was absurdly hot in the first part of May. Like he was the best player in fantasy.
Yeah, everybody wanted him on their team.
Spencer Steer it is.
All right, shortstop could be a little tricky because there are a lot of repeated names from second base.
Yeah, we're going to cancel out Marcus Semien here because obviously he's already second base winner.
Are we going to cancel out Mookie Betts too?
Mookie doesn't fall on this list for me.
Yeah, like he's not a shortstop. He's playing shortstop out of necessity.
Yeah,
what? Like
I know who my pick is.
Who's the list then, Tommy, of shortstops?
So Wander Franco, Bo Bichette, Bobby Witt, Fernando Tatis is who you're going to have left. Because, like I said, Simeon's and Betts they're different positions. We've already awarded second base, but Semien, so he can't have both. Although he's good enough to get both, but he can't have both. He's not actually playing it. He's just holdover from last year. Mookie's an outfielder. We'll talk about him in the outfield rankings. So we got Wander, Bo, Bobby, Fernando. My pick is Bo Bichette. He had a fantastic May. He wasn't the highest point scorer, but slash line 330, 360, didn't walk much. And 514 slug, 4 home runs, a lot of RBIs, a lot of runs, handful of doubles, more than a handful of doubles, 6 of them. The charts, the data I'm looking at. I mean, I think, again, just as much of an impact to your team when you're hitting over 300 and getting on base over 350 as is a fantasy team. And I think just an overall, the shortstop you want is Bo Bichette.
I want to agree with you based on that stat line that he is a consistent guy batting 321. But Wander Franco had 13 stolen bases to Bo's 1.
That's what stole me.
Um, and yeah, he also did have 20 more points in the same in similar amount of at bats. If the stolen bases weren't such a difference, I mean, 13 stolen bases a month. That's what some people were getting, maybe wanted or got all of last year, as stolen bases are up this year so much. I wanted to go Bo Bichette, but I think my vote's for Wander Franco.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Wander as well. That was the difference maker for me, was the stolen bases.
Who would I rather have going forward? Bo Bichette.
Probably Bo Bichette, yeah. Yeah, I would rather have Bo the rest of the season.
But that's not what we're talking about here, right?
Month of May.
We're talking about the past, not the future.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that pick. I didn't consider the steal. 13 versus 1 for Bo. That's
All right.
half his points.
Yeah.
How many
Tatis was also on the list. Tatis was on there, but he had 232 average in the month of May.
Where did he get all those points with that bad stat line?
I don't know. He does not have a great stat line, but 7 home runs, 5 stolen bases, 12 singles.
It's maybe the home run combination with those stolen bases.
13 RBIs. It does 15 runs scored. I don't know, man.
I mean, the math works, but I don't know how it got there.
Yeah, right. Like
everybody
the math
else's
works.
line is great, and then Tatis is there with the same points. Like, I have the points, so. All right, so we're going through and picking a fantasy lineup. So are we picking 3 outfielders, or how many outfielders we want to select for the team?
Let's go 3. Give me
3.
Let's go top 3 outfielders.
I've got my 2. The third is up for debate. I don't know how hard. I mean, if you want to talk the difference in at bats, Wesley, of someone doing more damage with less at bats, it's freaking Aaron Judge.
Yeah. I mean, look at his number of at bats. So, like, on this list, I mean, there's 15, 20 players listed here, and every single one of them is at least 80 to 100 at bats, and Aaron Judge is at 73 at bats. And he's number 2 on this list. So
Aaron Judge is?
Sorry, number 1. He's number 1 on this list. I was looking at the wrong list.
It's a little confused there. Yeah. Oh, you're looking at utility.
Yeah, I was looking at utility. So the only other person that has the same amount of at-bats is Juan Soto, and he scored 30 more points than Juan Soto. So look, Aaron Judge is, in the month of May, been the MVP. 356, 12 home runs.
12 and that was when he had the oblique injury that folks maybe wondered if it was going to affect his swing, and Aaron Judge proved those naysayers wrong.
Yeah, he's got a 900 slug, not an OPS. A 900 OPS is good,
dude.
An OPS of 900 is good. A slug of 900.
Yeah,
I never thought he'd repeat.
To put that in perspective, right? The next guy on that list, Jorge Soler. So Aaron Judge hit 12 home runs and has a 918 slug in 73 at bats. Jorge Soler also hit 12 home runs in May and has a 663 slug. That's crazy.
Doubles, lots of hits.
Doubles and doing it all in less at bats.
Yeah, and the average is 50 points difference too.
Jeez. We just talked about, who was it? Freddie. We were gushing over 700 slugging percentage.
I know.
So Aaron Judge, obviously, because we just gawked on him for 5 minutes. Jorge Soler for me is an easy number 2 at 12 home runs with over almost a 300 batting average. He was fantastic. Second highest in points. So those are 2 easy ones. The next 3 or 4 names, probably what we're going to debate. Are we consensus there? Any disagreements?
I might surprise you with mine.
With your second? Are you disagreeing
My third.
about Jorge?
No. I'm agreeing with Jorge.
Okay. So the candidates here are Ronald Acuna, Jordan Alvarez, Lourdes Gurriel, Lane Thomas, Juan Soto, Santander, Luis Robert, and Esther. How do you say that guy's name?
Esteury Ruiz.
Yeah, that guy.
Him.
Yeah, if there's an honorable mention, we'll give the honorable mention to Ruiz, who nobody thought would make it in the MLB with his bat.
And he bat 294 for the month of May. Stolen base machine. He
Any
basically hits
scouting
a
report you
single.
read? I think his. I gotta look up his grade now. I'm curious. I'm pretty sure he had like a 40 bat or maybe a 45. He was below league average.
Probably has like a 200 speed.
200.
And the scale stops at 80.
Yeah.
So who's your surprise pick though? There, Wesley. Who's your third?
My surprise pick is going to be Lourdes Gurriel.
That's what you're going to say.
Man, 369. He slugged 762 with 8 home runs. So the one difference between him and Ronald Acuna, right, that I would say is Ronald Acuna has the stolen bases. He has 8. Acuna has 8, and Gurriel has none. Not a surprise. But he had 8 home runs to Acuna's 6. He drove in 16. I don't know. He had a really good month, and he did it in 20 less at bats. So,
geez, yeah.
Gurriel's going to be my pick there.
I went into it thinking Acuna was one of the solid picks, but as you start to look at these lines, Acuna doesn't have the best line. Acuna is the player who I want on my freaking fantasy team.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's electric, playmaker. But for the month of May, he wasn't, I think, the third best outfielder. I was trying to be, different and look at Lane Thomas. I know Juan Soto had a great freaking month after a bad April, but yeah, I might have to agree with you there, Wes, of Lourdes Gurriel.
So Estuary Ruiz. He was,
say that 10 times fast.
Yeah, no kidding. A 35 hit and a 70 speed.
Oh no.
That's according to Fangraphs. Sometimes Fangraphs and MLB can kind of differ on some things like that, but there's not many 35 hits that I've seen succeed like this in fantasy.
Maybe it was Juan Pierre. I wonder if you go back and get Juan Pierre's scouting report.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like the scouts are rarely wrong when it gets to this level. Like the scouts can be wrong between high school, college, and the MLB, but like once it gets to like AAA MLB, they're rarely wrong. So I'm just gonna say that at some point in time, Ruiz is gonna regress and gonna regress hard.
So I'm not gonna let Lourdes Gurriel win by unanimous decision, although he was fantastic and it's a pretty good vote. I am going to go with Juan Soto for the same reason I went with Will Smith. 24 walks to 16 strikeouts. Not only was he my player of the month for the outfielders, well, besides Aaron Judge and Jorge Soler, obviously, but he's my comeback player because he had a pretty bad last year and a pretty bad April. Not only from
park in San Diego.
Yeah, I mean, his stats didn't do anything for San Diego. They've still been mediocre, but when you get on base at every other at-bat, I mean, you're just an asset to your team. He did it in 75 at-bats versus, 80 plus for every other person on this list except for Aaron Judge. So his points per game or points per at-bat were second only to Aaron Judge. But I'm not mad at the Lourdes Gurriel pick. He's coming out of nowhere. He's been a great fantasy asset for anybody who has him. So our graphic will say Lourdes Gurriel because 2 out of 3, but my vote will be for Juan Soto.
Yeah, you could argue that maybe Gurriel, was he hurt that got him less at bats? We know Judge got less at bats because he was hurt. Did Gurriel just get rest? But still, he scored more points.
They love to platoon in Arizona.
Yeah, he scored the points for it in less at bats. So it still helps you on a week-to-week basis as a fantasy player. Because we got to remember, we're talking fantasy players, not just overall. That's why it's a mix between the top scorer and we're really looking at the lines and the numbers.
So I guess quick question here then. If we're doing 3 outfielders and we're going to throw a utility spot, would Juan Soto get the utility spot? Because that's basically the only other vote left.
He would. There would be a good debate between him and Lane Thomas, honestly.
Well, if you didn't pick Lane Thomas for your outfielder, then how are you going to pick him for a utility spot?
I would pick Juan Soto, simply because of the strikeouts. Lane Thomas has struck out more. I'm just saying there's a debate that can be had because Lane Thomas did have a great May. Somehow somehow he struck out 30 times and hit 324. I'm not entirely sure how he did that, but he
Yeah,
did.
8 home runs, 7 home runs.
So, but Juan Soto scored only 10 points less than Acuna. I was going to say, how do we not pick Acuna on that list of players we've already selected at utility, of course?
Those stolen bases boosted him a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, that's valuable.
That's true.
That's valuable in
it
fantasy.
is. Yeah, like if you take away Ruiz's 16 stolen bases, that's 32 points.
This is trash.
Yeah, he's not good.
He's like a guy that's so like I want to say like Soler usually is very
Yeah.
home run reliant. If he doesn't
Yeah.
hit a home run, he's not good in fantasy.
Yeah,
But that's what Soler's not doing. He's doing it all.
but he doesn't have any power, so.
So, all right, we gotta get moving. Let's get into starting pitcher. We're gonna pick 5, I think, because this is what you need for your fantasy lineup. I think the first one is very easy. It's Nathan Eovaldi.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yep, agreed.
I'm gonna nominate the second one in Mitch Keller. I think that he won Player of the Week or Pitcher of the Week one week. .82 WHIP. Is that the lowest WHIP on here? No, it's second lowest. Behind a guy I would never have guessed. Michael Wacha, .73 WHIP in 4 starts. Mitch Keller did it in 5, 45 strikeouts in only 33 innings. So that's nasty. Do you guys disagree with Nasty Nate and Mitch Keller then 1-2?
I'm on board with that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna give him an order because that's gonna be hard to do. But I definitely can throw on the list.
All right, Wes, who are you thinking for a pitcher?
So I'm in between on this one. For number 3, between Christian Javier and Framber Valdez, because their stat lines are very similar. And Christian Javier won 4 games, Framber won 3. But I like Framber Valdez, man. Like I think Valdez is a better pitcher. That's just a tough case to make, but he gave up more hits. Javier had a better whip at .83 than Valdez at .91, but both of them are below 1, as are many pitchers on this list. But I don't know. I think Framber Valdez is on the list for me.
What about the strikeout to walk ratio? I think puts one ahead of the other.
Yeah, so Framber has 40 strikeouts to 7 walks, whereas Javier has 32 strikeouts to 9 walks. So that probably tips the scale, at least for me, in Framber's favor. And he pitched 3 more innings, which is not a lot, but
all right. I think Tommy. Can you agree on Framber?
Yeah, that's fine. One other one that's controversial that I think is not getting the credit because even though this list the data is a day old, I'm putting up the latest data. Is Miles Michaelis. He pitched again last night with 8 innings, 10 strikeouts, no earned runs. And for the month of May, he's got a 1.39 ERA and a 0.87 WHIP. I never thought I'd be saying that. I thought he was cooked. I thought he was done. But he has been fantastic.
I've never been high on him.
No, me either. I don't think anybody has. But
I watched him pitch last night. I'm so happy that you mentioned that because, like you said, this is a day old, and I was like, man.
His last 4 games, Michaelis. From a points perspective, 34, 28, 16, 21. That's a league winning if you can keep that up. So I don't know if you guys want to disagree with me, but for me, Miles Michaelis is on my list.
No, I'm gonna agree with you after watching him pitch last night. That was it's fun to watch.
So we've got Nasty Nate, Mitch Keller, Framber Valdez, and Miles Michaelis, who is going to anchor our staff, or maybe be the caboose, maybe not the anchor, whatever you want to call it.
So my vote might be Marcus Stroman because he is a quality start machine. He doesn't have the strikeouts though. But for the month of May,
but neither does Miles Michaelis. They got it,
But if we're talking quality starts, Logan Webb's right there with 5 starts as well. Innings pitched though, Marcus Stroman is
That's a tough one because Logan Webb
Marcus
had
Stroman is tied for the most innings pitched with Nathan Eovaldi.
So my vote for the fifth spot isn't even on this list because the dad's a day old. That's George Kirby. He went 6 games, 5 quality starts, 34 strikeouts, and 40 innings. The strikeouts aren't quite there, but only 4 walks and a 107 whip. 5 quality starts
In 6 starts.
in 6 starts.
how many points?
107.
Yeah, I like this. So what rang the bell though for me was that 40 innings. That dude is, that's the most on this whole list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. You want to see guys go depth and get those quality starts.
Oh,
I think
strikeouts.
I think Michaelis would have been the only one that would have more innings, right?
His innings in May.
Right.
His innings in May were 7, 7, 6.2, 7, 4.2, 8. So he did have one bad start in there, but other than
I think 7's ideal. Then you get a setup man to the closer.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
if you take out his game against Pittsburgh, 4.2 innings, 7 earned runs, he's got like a, oh my God, that stat line's beautiful. I don't know that off the top of my head, but Kirby is my vote. Gotta put the E next to our name after this.
Spilled my drink. Too close to my mouth.
What's the call? Who's gonna be our fifth starter?
I like I said, I would have talked Stroman until you just mentioned George Kirby's innings pitched.
Yep, that's huge.
Yeah, I think Kirby throwing 40 innings is big.
You could say the same argument for Zach Eflin, but
and I think Waka probably deserves a shout out.
That's the name. Yeah, that's who I said he had the best whip, and I couldn't.
Yeah, like
his innings are in there though.
A .73 whip. But he had 26 innings as opposed to 40 and a third.
Oof, yeah.
4 games versus 6.
So that's why his whip's so good. Low sample size.
I think we can pick a 6th. I think it's going to be Zach Eflin. If you guys look at the most recent data, because he pitched again last night.
Yeah, and Eflin was 39 innings pitched. .92 whip. And so, all right, let's start over here, right? Like Eovaldi, yes, I think.
Eovaldi had 37 innings and only 5 starts. That's how nasty he did.
Yeah, he was
2 complete games.
All right, so would you relegate Framber on that list on that though?
For who? Who are you trying to sub out? Eflin?
I like the 40 strikeouts in 33 innings.
For Eflin?
Framber.
Oh, for Framber.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if anybody's leaving, it's Framber, but yeah, I think I could take Eflin over Framber.
Yeah.
Framber. You want to go with that?
But yeah, that's the question, right? Is like, do we put Eflin in there over Framber? Because I think Kirby's in.
Yeah, I think Kirby's in. What was Eflin's strikeouts at that in his last start?
36 over 39.
Yeah, and he had 5 walks, and Framber.
I still like Framber. Yeah. For the strikeouts. The whip.
Yeah, strikeouts and whips are better. Win two less games.
Oh, big ERA too. Difference.
All right, we'll go with Framber.
So that's Nasty, Mitch Keller, Framber, Miles, and George.
Kind of contradicting ourselves, but
we just had to be sure we were right.
Well, we're talking about innings versus, time gone, and no, it's fine.
ERA and runs, so maybe the innings he gave up more. He went more innings and still had the higher ERA. But yeah, anyways, I see what you're saying.
All right, 2 relief pitchers. Who's it going to be?
Doval's the highest scoring. Bautista's right behind him of Baltimore. Alexis Diaz of the Reds. Alex Lang of Detroit. And Carlos Estevez of the Angels. I don't think you would have thought that these would be elite closers. Especially Alex Lang. Bautista leads in strikeouts, 29 strikeouts in 13 innings. I almost think you take the top 2 here on this list, Doval and Bautista.
Yeah, Camilo for sure. 10 saves. Both whipping ERA under 1. Yeah, I think Bautista.
I don't know how you argue against that kind of K rate.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think
The the
I'm gonna go
walks are there
Duvall
too, but
and Batista. The only argument I might make is that Batista got one win, which for closers isn't necessarily something you can count on all the time. And Alexis Diaz, without that win, I mean, they basically scored the same amount of points with a better ERA and better WHIP.
it's possible though.
Batista had 2 blown saves.
Yeah, I
And
mean, I didn't see that, but
no, I didn't either.
sure.
Oh, that makes me kind of lean Alexis Diaz.
Less
I mean,
walks,
I mean, Felix
same amount of hits.
points total is still better, but just overall
Not
quality of a
much. You
player.
just hate to see those blown saves. If it's
Yeah.
Sunday night and you need a save, and here comes Bautista jogging in, and he blows it for you instead of getting that 7-10 points that you need.
Yeah, Burns is gonna spill a second drink.
I don't know. I'm changing my vote to Alexis Diaz, so you guys got to break the tie.
No, I think I might go Alexis Diaz because he did it in 2 less appearances. I mean, the one thing for closers, right, is you can't necessarily control the amount of appearances that they have. So the fact that Alexis Diaz in 10 appearances has a .79 ERA and a 1.0 WHIP, with 20 strikeouts and 8 saves, didn't blow any of them. I'm going to go him over Batista, who had 12 appearances. He had 1 win, which you can never count on, for closers.
Do you think that win came after he blew the save?
Yes, I was
He
watching that
did.
game.
Yeah, it
Oh,
did.
is that it?
I have him in a league, and
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened.
So he just got lucky with those points
exactly.
there. So okay, yeah, I can get on board with Alexis Diaz. That
That's our
ERA
team.
0.79, only giving up same amount of hits and less innings. That doesn't help him. All right, Tom, you want to review our team, our all May team?
The All-May team catching is Will Smith. Our first baseman is Freddie Freeman. Second baseman, Marcus Simeon. Third baseman, the big surprise, Spencer Steer. Shortstop, Wander Franco. Your outfield is Aaron Judge, Jorge Soler, and Lourdes Gurriel. And your utility player is Juan Soto. And your starting pitchers is Nasty Nate, Nathan Eovaldi, Mitch Keller, Framber Valdez, Miles Michaelis, and George Kirby in no particular order. Maybe Nate's the top. The rest of those you could probably throw in any order. And your relief pitchers are Camilo Duvall and Alexis Diaz.
It's funny you didn't have Spencer Strider in there.
No,
I was going to mention him, but he has a 3.45 ERA in May.
I'm just curious where he stands. Looking
He
up.
scored. He was.
There was no Sparps in here. There was no Sparps.
Strider was number 5 on the list, and he was the only. His points wise, I should state.
Why is he not showing up in the most recent list though? In the last 28 days.
He's on there for me.
There he is. He's way down there. He must have had a start the very first day of May.
Like 5 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he's got.
Yeah,
that's surprising.
Did you purposely cut out Sparps, Wes, of this list?
I did not. He just honestly didn't appear.
I'm not even saying Strider. I'm saying other Sparps.
Spencer Strider and Hunter Brown are the only 2 Sparps that would really even show up. But
names and on the
Vince
list.
Velasquez,
Spencer Strider, Zach Gallen, Shane's on there. Let's look at some names that aren't on the list. That someone else who's up there is surprising. My name is Jose Barrios. He was one of the top scorers of the month. That was a surprise.
Oh,
Louis Varland.
Is it? Whose team is he on?
John Gray. Barrios is on my team. A lot of these names are surprising.
All right, we're coming up here on the 40-minute mark. Let's wrap this guy up. This has been episode 20, our all-May fantasy team. Guys who we thought were the best players at their position in the month of May. Not necessarily who we want the rest of the season, but who was the best for May. I'm Michael. We got Tommy and Wes here. This has been episode 20. We will catch you guys on the next one.
rate us 5 stars.